Welcome back to KaiTales. Tonight, we return to the ancient world of shadows and gods. In our last episode, we witnessed the birth of the cosmos, how order rose from chaos, and how the sky god Uranus was overthrown by his own son, Cronus. But as we are about to learn, history has a way of repeating itself, and power is a heavy burden to carry. My name is Kai, and I will be your guide through this era of titans and magic. My goal is to help you let go of the modern world and drift into a deep, peaceful slumber. Before we begin, I have a small favor to ask. If you find peace in these stories, please leave a like and subscribe to the library. And I would love to know, where in the world are you listening from tonight? It is truly special to know we are all connected by these stories from every corner of the globe. Also, let me know in the comments, how is the balance of the rain and music? I want this to be perfect for you. So, tell me if you need any changes for the next chapter. Now, dim the lights, let your shoulders drop, take a deep breath of the night air. Let us journey to the golden age of the Titans. And so began the second dynasty of the gods. The ruler of this new age was Cronus, the Titan of time itself. He who represented eternal duration. He took for his bride the Titaness Rhea, a divinity of the earth. Together, they brought forth a new generation of gods: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. But Cronus did not look upon his children with love. His mind was haunted by an uneasy conscience. He could not forget the curse of his own father, Uranus, who had predicted that Cronus, too, would one day be overthrown by his own blood. Terrified that this prophecy would come true, Cronus made a dark decision. As soon as each child was born, he snatched them from their mother's arms and swallowed them whole, imprisoning them within himself. Rhea was consumed by sorrow and indignation. She had watched 5 of her children disappear into the darkness of their father. When she bore her 6th and last child, Zeus, she resolved that this one, at least, would be saved. Desperate to protect the infant Zeus, Rhea appealed to her parents, the ancient Uranus and Gaia, for counsel. Following their wise advice, she devised a trick. She took a large stone from the earth and wrapped it carefully in soft baby clothes, making it look like a sleeping infant. She presented this bundle to Cronus. In his eager haste and paranoia, the Titan swallowed the stone immediately, never noticing the deception. And so, the child, Zeus, was saved. Unbeknownst to his father, he would grow up to fulfill the prophecy, dethrone Cronus, and become the supreme king of the gods. Anxious to keep the secret of his existence from Cronus, Rhea sent the infant Zeus away to the island of Crete. There, he was nourished, protected, and educated in safety. A sacred goat named Amalthea became his nurse, providing him with milk. Nymphs fed him with golden honey, while eagles and doves brought him nectar and ambrosia. He was concealed in a deep cave in the heart of Mount Ida. Outside, the priests of Rhea clashed their shields together, creating a constant noise to drown out the cries of the child and hide him from his father. Under the watchful care of the nymphs, the infant Zeus grew rapidly. He developed immense physical power, combined with extraordinary wisdom and intelligence. When he grew to manhood, he determined to force his father to release his brothers and sisters to the light of day. He was assisted by the goddess Atys, who tricked Cronus into drinking a potion. The potion caused Cronus to bring back the children he had swallowed. As for the stone that had taken Zeus's place, it was set down at Delphi to be a sacred relic forever. Cronus was so enraged at being tricked that war between father and son became inevitable. The rival forces gathered on two high mountains in Thessaly. Zeus, with his brothers and sisters, took his stand on Mount Olympus. He was joined by Oceanus and other Titans who had forsaken Cronus because of his cruelty. On the other side, Cronus and his allies took possession of Mount Othrys and prepared for battle. The struggle was long and fierce. At length, Zeus found that he was no closer to victory than before. He remembered the existence of the imprisoned giants, and knowing they could offer powerful assistance, he hastened to set them free. He also called to his aid the Cyclops, the giants with only one eye in the middle of their foreheads. Their names were Thunder, Lightning, and Fire. They brought with them tremendous thunderbolts for the young god to wield. With them came the 100-handed giants, who hurled rocks down upon the enemy, raising mighty earthquakes that swallowed up all who opposed them. Aided by these new allies, Zeus made a furious attack. The clash was so tremendous that all nature throbbed in accord with the effort. The sea rose mountains high, the earth shook to its foundations, and the heavens sent forth flash after flash of blinding lightning. And now, the tide of the war began to turn. Victory finally smiled upon Zeus. Cronus and his army were completely overthrown. His brothers were cast down into the gloomy depths of the lower world, and Cronus himself was banished from his kingdom forever. The supreme power of the universe now passed to his son, Zeus. This great war was known as the Titanomachy, a struggle remembered by poets for generations. With his defeat, the reign of Cronus had come to an end. Yet, being immortal like all the gods, he did not perish. He remained in existence, wandering the shadows without his throne, while Zeus took his place as the new king. We often picture Cronus as an old man leaning on a scythe, holding an hourglass in his hand. The hourglass reminds us of the fleeting moments as they pass, one by one. And the scythe reminds us that time, in the end, cuts everything down. Later in history, the Romans gave Cronus a new name. They called him Saturn, their ancient god of agriculture and farming. They believed that after he lost the great war against Zeus, he fled across the sea to Italy. There, he took refuge with Janus, the king of Italy. King Janus received the exiled god with great kindness, and even shared his throne with him. Their reign together was so peaceful and happy that it became known as the Golden Age. Saturn is usually pictured holding a sickle in one hand and a bundle of wheat in the other, symbols of the harvest. A great temple was built to honor him in Rome, at the foot of the Capitoline Hill. Inside this temple, the people guarded their public treasury and the laws of the state. Rhea was the wife of Cronus and the mother of Zeus and the other great gods of Olympus. She represented the earth itself, regarded as the great mother who gave life to all plants and trees. She also held great power over the animal kingdom, especially the lion, the noble king of beasts. We often see her represented wearing a crown shaped like a castle tower. She sits on a throne with lions resting at her feet, or sometimes riding in a chariot drawn by them. The main place of her worship was on the island of Crete. Her festivals took place at night, under the stars. The air was filled with the wild music of flutes and drums, while joyful shouts and dancing celebrated the great mother of the earth. This goddess was first brought to Crete from the distant lands of Phrygia in Asia Minor. There, she was worshipped under the name of Cybele. The people adored her as the Great Mother, who gave life to the forests and fields. But they noticed that every year, as winter approached, her glory vanished, the flowers faded, and the trees lost their leaves. To explain this sorrow of nature, the ancients told the story of a lost love. It was said that the goddess loved a youth of remarkable beauty named Atys. But to her great grief, he was not faithful to her. He planned to marry a wood nymph named Sagaris. In the middle of the wedding feast, the rage of the goddess burst forth. A panic seized the guests, and Atys, struck by a sudden madness, fled into the wild mountains where he met his tragic end. Filled with regret, Cybele began a yearly mourning for her lost love. Her priests marched into the mountains to seek him. When they honored his memory, they danced and shouted, filling the air with wild, ecstatic music. In Rome, the Greek goddess Rhea was known by the name Ops. She was the goddess of plenty and the wife of Saturn. She was often called by the majestic title Magna Mater, or the Great Mother of the Gods. Legend tells us that she was brought to Rome from the high mountains of distant lands during a time of great war, in obedience to an ancient prophecy. Like her Greek form, she was pictured as a noble mother crowned with towers, seated in a chariot drawn by lions. Now we return to Zeus and his brothers. After their great victory over the Titans, they gathered to decide how the world they had conquered should be divided between them. They drew lots to decide their fate. It fell to Zeus to reign supreme in the heavens. Hades was given the lower world, and Poseidon took full command over the sea. Yet, even though they ruled their own kingdoms, Zeus was recognized as the supreme king over all three realms, in heaven, on earth, and under the earth. Zeus held his court on the high peak of Mount Olympus, whose summit was hidden far beyond the clouds. The kingdom of Hades lay in the gloomy, unknown regions below the ground, and Poseidon reigned over the deep, vast ocean. Each of these kingdoms was wrapped in mystery, from the mists of the high mountain to the darkness of the world below. But the peace did not last long. Trouble arose from the earth itself. The giants, monstrous children of the ancient world, declared war against the gods of Olympus. Their mother Gaia had given them a secret magic. They were invincible as long as their feet touched the ground. The war was long and weary. Giants like the mighty Enceladus and Mimas hurled great rocks and burning oak trees against the heavens, defying the lightning of Zeus. But the most fearsome enemy of all was Typhon. He was a monster with 100 heads and eyes that struck terror into all who saw him. He was so terrifying that many of the gods fled to Egypt, transforming themselves into animals to hide from his wrath. But Zeus stood his ground. After a violent battle, he unleashed his greatest thunderbolt against the monster. Typhon was defeated, and at last the rule of the Olympians was secure. Just as there were many stories about how the world began, there were also different beliefs about the creation of man. The first belief of the ancient Greeks was that humans sprang from the earth itself, just like the wildflowers force their way through the ground in early spring. In those early days, men lived simply, like the wild creatures of the field. They found shelter in the hollows of rocks and in the dense forests, protected by the deep green branches above. But as time passed, the human race lost its way. The gods decided to cleanse the world with a great flood. Only 2 people were saved, chosen for their good hearts: Deucalion, the son of Prometheus, and his wife, Pyrrha. Deucalion built a great ship. For 9 days and 9 nights, they floated on the endless waters until the rain finally stopped and their ship came to rest on the high peaks of the mountains. Alone in the silent world, they asked the ancient oracle how to bring the human race back to life. The oracle gave them a mysterious answer: cover your heads and throw the bones of your mother behind you. At first, they were confused, but soon they understood the secret meaning. Their mother was not a human woman, but the earth itself, and the bones of the earth were the stones. So they picked up stones from the mountainside and cast them over their shoulders. A miracle took place. The stones thrown by Deucalion softened and turned into men, and the stones thrown by Pyrrha turned into women. And so, the world was populated once again. As time passed, the beliefs of the people changed. Temples were raised to honor the gods, and priests taught a new history of the world. They said that before us, there were other races of men, created by the gods in different ages. First came the Golden Age, then the Silver, the Bronze, and finally the Iron. Life in the Golden Age was a paradise. It was a time of pure joy, untouched by sorrow or pain. The people lived simple, happy lives, thinking no evil and doing no wrong. The earth gave them fruits and flowers in abundance, without any need for farming or hard work. War was unknown to them. This godlike existence lasted for hundreds of years, and when life finally ended for them, death came as gently as sleep. They passed away in a happy dream, becoming invisible spirits who watched over and protected the ones they loved. Then came the Silver Age. The men of this time were very different. They remained children for 100 years, growing up slowly in their mother's care. But when they finally became adults, their lives were short and unhappy. They did not honor the gods, and they could not live in peace with one another. Because of this, they were banished to the shadows of the underworld. Unlike the spirits of the Golden Age, they became restless ghosts, always sighing for the lost pleasures of the life they had wasted. Next came the men of the Bronze Age. They were a completely different race, strong, powerful, and frightening. Everything around them was made of metal. Their weapons, their tools, and even their homes were built of bronze. And their hearts were just like the metal they loved, hard, cold, and cruel. They led a life of constant war and violence, destroying the peace that the world had known before. It was during this dark time that Themis, the goddess of justice, finally gave up on mankind. Broken-hearted by their evil deeds, she abandoned the earth and flew back to the heavens, leaving humanity alone. At last, the gods grew tired of the endless fighting. They swept this violent race from the face of the earth and sent them down to the darkness of the underworld to share the fate of those who came before. Finally, we come to the men of the Iron Age. The earth was no longer a paradise, and it gave up its food only after much hard work and struggle. Since the goddess of justice had abandoned the world, there was no influence left to keep men from turning to wickedness and sin. As time went on, this condition grew worse and worse, until at last, Zeus could watch it no longer. In his anger, he opened the floodgates of heaven and drowned this evil race in a great deluge, saving only the good Deucalion and his wife. But there is an older story, told by the ancient poet Hesiod, that says man was not born from the earth, but created by a Titan. It is said that Prometheus shaped man out of clay, and the goddess Athena breathed a soul into him. Prometheus loved the beings he had created, and he was determined to lift their minds above the beasts. He taught them the secrets of the stars, the magic of numbers, the alphabet, and how to cure diseases. He gave them the light of knowledge so they could build a civilization. The human race grew so large that the gods decided they must establish laws about worship. A great assembly was held at a place called Mecone to decide what part of a sacrifice belonged to the gods and what part belonged to men. Prometheus, who always acted as the protector of humanity, brought forward a great ox to settle the matter. He cut the animal into 2 portions, but he decided to use a clever trick to help the humans he loved. He divided the ox with great cunning. In one pile, he placed the bare bones, which were useless for food, but he hid them artfully under a thick layer of rich, white fat to make them look delicious. In the other pile, he placed all the good meat and edible parts, but he covered them with the rough skin and the unappealing stomach to make them look terrible. He laid both piles before Zeus, waiting to see which portion the king of the gods would choose. Zeus pretended to be deceived and chose the pile of white bones, but in his heart he saw through the trick. He was filled with a cold rage at being mocked by the Titan. To punish both Prometheus and the humans he loved, the king of gods, refused to give mortals the sacred gift of fire. But Prometheus would not let his children live in darkness. He resolved to brave the anger of Olympus to obtain the vital spark. He climbed to the heavens and stole glowing embers from the chariot of the sun, hiding the fire inside a hollow fennel stalk to carry it safely down to the earth. When Zeus saw the fires burning on earth, his fury knew no bounds. He determined to craft a punishment that would last forever. He commanded Hephaestus, the smith god, to mold a beautiful woman out of clay. Through her, he planned to bring a sweet but terrible mystery into the world of men. The gods were charmed by the graceful creation of Hephaestus, and they decided to shower her with special gifts. Hermes gave her a persuasive tongue, while Aphrodite gave her the art of pleasing. Athena gifted her with skill and wisdom. They named her Pandora, which means all gifted, for she possessed every charm necessary to be irresistible. Dressed in beautiful robes and crowned with fresh flowers, this exquisite creature was led by Hermes to the house of Epimetheus. Now, Epimetheus had been strictly warned by his brother Prometheus never to accept a gift from the gods. But when he saw the beautiful being standing before him, he forgot all warnings and welcomed her as his wife. In his home, he kept a jar of rare workmanship which he was forbidden to open. It held blessings reserved for mankind, but Pandora could not withstand the temptation of mystery. Watching for her moment, she lifted the heavy lid. Immediately, the blessings took wing like birds and flew away into the sky, lost to the world forever. But all was not lost in that moment of despair. Just as the spirit of hope, which lay at the very bottom, was about to escape, Pandora hastily slammed the lid shut. And so, she preserved for humanity the one comfort that never fails, the solace that helps us bear the burdens of life with courage and strength. Having punished mankind, Zeus turned his vengeance upon Prometheus. He chained the Titan to a desolate rock on Mount Caucasus. There, he sent a great eagle every day to torment him. For 30 long years, Prometheus endured this fearful fate, until at last, Zeus relented and allowed his son Hercules to slay the bird and set him free. And here, we will pause our tale for tonight. I will leave you now with the gentle sound of the rain to wash away the rest of your thoughts. If you are already drifting off, I wish you the sweetest of dreams. But if you are still awake, please remember to subscribe and like the video to help our little library grow. Sleep well, and I will see you in the next chapter. Good night.